to be doing a whole thing here where we're looking at headphones is the idea. So I'm going to see if I can do this to the best of my ability here. Whispered behind the camera. And I'm going to try to do this basically from the best to the worst one. So we'll see what we can do. It's a little ramble thing, a little show and tell of headphones that I still have. So we're going to get the good stuff out of the way with this bad boy, which is the Sony, can I even see that? I'll just say, yes, the Sony MDR 7506. These are like monitors, and actually kind of cool that these have like little like left and right things are differently colored on each side as well. They do kind of weirdly fold in, which like I don't ever like want them to do this, but they can like fold into themselves to try and make them like take up less space, and I don't find it to be all that useful. It just doesn't really save that much space, and it only ever does that when I don't want it to. But it does have nice metal hinges on it. These plates also weirdly swoop out like this. I don't really care for that either, I guess. But it's actually, pretty nice. These are studio monitor. These actually have been used for a long time. I guess these came out in like, I think maybe like the 90s at least, maybe the 80s. But like I think it might be like, not this particular model. I'm sure this particular one is like from, it's probably from a newer, they just still make it, but you know what I mean. That's when they first came out. And yeah, they're actually pretty comfortable. They're not real big or heavy, which is good. Now, they also have this. They have a little end you actually have here. Let me go grab that quick. They have a little end over here that you can screw in to make it larger for like, amps and things and stuff where you have these larger inputs like that. I guess I'll leave it on there for now, but and I like that screws on there because then, a lot of times when you just have the ones that kind of snap on and you go to take it out, sometimes it pulls this end out, but this thing gets stuck in whatever you plugged it into. So, now this cord is a little annoying because it's this coiled cord, which like, the idea is that like, oh, it's a short cord, when you want it to be, but then you can pull it to be longer. The problem is, this lump on the cord has a bunch of weight that will kind of pull down on the edge of it, so whenever you're using that, it's, it also gets kind of stuck on itself, but whenever you're using this, it's just that's constantly, being pulled away from you, and I have to like find something to like set on this lump of cord, so that the stress of this isn't pulling this headphone, constantly down or away from my ear. That's really annoying. Also, sorry the audio on this is inconsistent. I'm noticing that sometimes I'm getting a blip, and I don't think I always need the blip on my microphone for it to be picking up audio, but I get worried that it's not when it doesn't blip for me on my heads-up display on my camera. But hopefully all this is being picked up. Either, and it's probably going to sound a little muffled behind the camera, a bit quiet, I don't know, facing away or something, but hopefully it all works out. Anyways, these are fairly comfortable, they're good, but the main thing I really like about these headphones, and I think these are maybe like around $80 or something, which I think is pretty good. That's nowhere near audiophile levels of headphone prices, of course, but average people probably don't necessarily want to spend this much money on just some wired headphones, especially when you can get lots of cheaper ones. I've had plenty of cheaper headsets or headphones or whatever. I've had headphones headphones that are like, usually what I'm used to is getting headphones that just kind of, they either come with stuff or they are like the first ones you see like in the store that are like, your $20, $30 headphones or something maybe, and they don't sound very good. They're passable and they're comfortable enough. Most of them that I have sit on the ears. These are big enough where, and these you see these actually kind of like swivel a little bit too. These have like the ear cover here, so your ear actually sits inside of here. It helps block out sound around you. The other ones I had usually just sit kind of on the ear, and I actually had one pair of headphones that were like so bad that like the like padding on them, there was like a pretty thin piece of padding just over the hard plastic of the speaker stuff on it, and like that started to come off, and I was just putting my ear, like into plastic. That was not very fun. But this is very good. Sound-wise, this thing is excellent because it's a studio monitor, like it says. So what that basically means is these are meant for like giving you the sound in, or outputting sound that's being put into it without doing too much to color that sound. So like, especially for stuff like editing my videos or music, it's really nice to have these because then I know what it kind of sounds like if I have something that's boosting certain elements, like, boosting bass or treble or anything like that. If I have anything coloring the sound, then when people are playing it back, they might be missing that stuff if I try to tune it to just whatever I'm listening to on my headphones. So these are a nice way to get a really good balance, and like I really like using these, so I pretty much use these all the time for almost everything. When I'm listening to music at home, when I'm playing like video games, especially like Call of Duty with its really good sound design, or even just playing this into my old Walkman, which like it never sounded. I didn't realize it could have sounded this amazing the whole time because this thing just lets you hear what was intended to be heard with the stuff you're listening to, and I think that's really awesome. So they've been like awesome to have like really great sound, and again, they're not like the perfect solution, and some people are gonna want more interesting sound profiles and more things that other types of headphones and stuff can do. But I am incredibly happy with these. Still easily my favorite headphones that I have. Next up here we have, well, I guess this is technically a headset, but you can see it on here, the Drop Plus EPOS. This is Sennheiser PCX38 headset. They do say left and right, I believe, in here. Oh, it says right there. Yeah, PC. Can you see that? PCX38. Yeah. And they kind of have little labels inside of here for left and right, I think. Oh, maybe they don't label them, do they? I thought they labeled the left and right inside of there, but I guess they don't. I guess you just have to remember it only really goes on the one way because the mic goes out that way, so that helps. And these bad boys are really, really nice. Because these, the big difference with these is that they are open back headphones. And, that means that, and this is kind of how you see the meshiness on this, right? So the thing that's really cool about that is, a few things, I guess. One thing I really wanted to have, like that open back thing, I wanted to have that sound, just to see what it was like. It already creates more of a soundstage and stuff, and I specifically got these ones because they have a really nice microphone on them. I was told this mic is really good, and as far as I can tell when I'm using it, yeah, it's actually a very good mic. I wanted to have a really good mic for my noise cancellation on Discord, or echo cancellation, so it doesn't echo back from, into the mic, since the mic is so good. But, like, I can also do this and still hear my games that I'm playing. When we're playing games together, I can still hear that through the openness of the headphones. And also, I like that these, because they're more open, they breathe easier, so even though it's like, they have this, like, kind of like more soft, fabricy material in them, this also allows them to breathe more, and so I can wear these for a really long time, and they'll be very comfortable, and they won't get, like, super, like, sweaty. They don't pinch my ears super bad. They're really, really nice, because a lot of headphones will pinch my ears between, the headphones and my glasses, but these don't really do that. And, sound-wise, I'm not totally sold. They do sound good, but I often feel like I have to keep turning things up, and it always feels like something is too loud compared to something else when I'm listening to music on these things. A lot of times I feel like the singing is just really quiet, or the bass is kind of quiet, or, it just feels like there's stuff that's like, some stuff is coming in too loud versus other stuff is too quiet. So I haven't really liked it that much for music, and for, audio on my games, it sounds good enough, for that. It doesn't sound quite as good as the Sonys do, and that's also a bit of a problem, because this thing is like, I think this was probably like close to $200 or something. This is not a cheap headset. Maybe I'm exaggerating. I have to look. I think it was something crazy like that. It was like 180 or 200 or something ridiculous like that. But I had a gift card for it, so it cut the price down. I'm like, you know what? That's reasonable. At that cut down price, I'm gonna get them. I think I only paid like around 100 for these, which is still a lot. They did come with 2 cables. These cables do detach. I've actually had this accidentally come out. You do have to get their cables because they are so deep. So unless you have ones that are deep enough, they're not gonna work. But it's nice to be able to detach them and replace them if need be. I don't really care for the shoestring cable just because it rubs on everything and makes a bunch of noise. And you can see here it has these 2 ends on it that, do those show anything on those? Yeah, sort of. Can you even see this? I don't know how well it's going to show up on cam, but there's like the headphone and microphone ends are on this. They also give you a shorter one that's the combo jack, but it didn't quite reach when I was doing stuff, so I just put these little, like this little cheater dongle on it to make it go back into one again, so I just have the length and have that. So it's kind of versatile. It can work as just a microphone or just headphones, or it can work for both. Yeah, I am still, like I said, these are really comfortable, and I'm fairly happy with them because I do use them all the time on my Discord calls. So, and if I want to use a mic on my Xbox games, I'll plug this one in instead. Next up are the new kids on the block. Now you probably saw a video of this already, but these are, if I put these up in the order I'm recording them, these are the AirPods, specifically AirPods 4. They're the new ones. I just got them for my birthday a few days ago recording this, so it comes with a documentation booklet here. And then you got, if I get this out one-handed, and then you've got your, this little thing like this. There's nothing else in the box or whatever, and you just open them up, and boom, there they are. You can take them. I haven't gotten good at taking them out yet. I don't know where's the best place to grab them by, but yeah, they're very, I don't know, they're very nice. Basically, I think what I've noticed with these, I've only been using them for a few days, but I found myself wanting to listen to more things because, oh my god, these things sound awesome. They have surprisingly a good amount of bass in them for something that doesn't like cram its way deep into your ear. But they're also very comfortable. They don't really feel like they're gonna fall out very often. And as just super, super happy with them. Now these are, you see they got the metal hinge back there, and they make a sound. I think there's a speaker under here, because I think they make a sound when you plug them in. They don't come with a cable, but I guess they assume you're using them on an iPhone. At this point, you're probably using an iPhone, you probably have a USB-C cable to plug this in, or you might have that one on your Mac, if you're using a MacBook or something maybe. But yeah, these are excellent. I wanted these over the Pros, and even though, I mean, I will say the only catch to these is that they are not, well, two catches. One, they only really work with Apple products. So obviously, I can't really use this on other things. I don't believe, or if they do, they wouldn't have certain features or something, I think. So don't quote me too much on that. But also, these are like, kind of spendy. I think these are like 130 or 150, somewhere in that range. They're not bad. Maybe it was like 120 to 150, somewhere in there. And they're ones that I probably wouldn't pay that much for, first try. But I ended up getting them because I don't know if I would have actually, bit on them or not. But I did get interested, and then getting them for my birthday, that's awesome. So yeah, so far these are I've been enjoying the ever-living shit out of these. Put that back in the box here for now. That tiny little box. Oh, I didn't plan out the order now. What is the next up? That is a good question. Well, I will be reasonable and give it to the Soundbeats Engine 4. Actually, they say Engine 4 on them anywhere. Or, I mean, do they say Soundbeats? They say Engine 4 down here. I don't know if they say Hear Your Imagination. I did not look at the side of that before. Some stuff. Oh, there it says Soundbeats up here. Soundbeats. So it does all this fancy stuff. Documentation. I put it upside down, sort of. Here they are. They also kindly tuck away the cables for it and stuff into the flaps in the box. So you got like cables under here that you can't really see because I'm not actually taking them on now. Oh no, don't get stuck. Go back in. Oh god, no, come on. And, I made room in the box immediately. God damn it, they've got little placement tips. Got shoved in there. Okay. These are the bad boys in question. You can see right away the case here. It's a little bit thicker than I can get the iPods one back out and compare. So if we're gonna compare cases here, right, you're gonna see that like the iPods one looks a little, the AirPods look a little taller, but they're thinner in these ways, So for reference. Now these just have kind of a plastic hinge. This thing shows it's starting to chip in the paint back here too. So this thing is ta-da! I think I'll probably, to make noises. You probably heard this say power on, connected, and whatever. So with had the different tips and stuff, and they don't fit super well. I already talked about these in the video too. They do have a microphone on them, but the microphone sucks. I mean, the AirPods microphone sucks, but it's about the sound of these things, right? So the sound of these things is actually pretty good. I think that the especially in the mids, like you're getting a lot of good stuff in the mids for these, which is kind of shocking. That they can just sound that good. You do get some bass, but you have to get it really particularly positioned in your ear to get that bass. And what I noticed, I mean, I do like that the edge here is, like it sticks out a bit, but it's easier to fiddle with it and adjust it without accidentally hitting like these top things that are like touch buttons. I never used the touch functions on purpose other than to force them to turn on if the case dies, because if the case dies, then when you pull these out, it doesn't know that it's been pulled out of it. You have to disconnect them and then reconnect them manually until you can recharge the case, which is a little whatever. They're the thing is just not super comfortable. They're more comfortable than most earbuds I've used, but I can never get them positioned quite right in my ears. I've tried all the tips. I tried a bunch of different positions in there. I just can't seem to make them fit well in my weird ears, and so they're constantly working their way out and sounding different and being uncomfortable, which is why another reason why I wanted to try AirPods, because they're they don't have the rubber tips on them. So these are still, I think, they'd be a solid enough backup to use. They're not like trash or anything. They're just, they are cheaper. I don't remember how much these were. I think these might have been in the like $60 to $80 range, because I don't want to spend a ton on something that is, has a limited lifespan with its battery. But I don't want to go too cheap either. So that's the Sound Beats. They were better than expected, but not as good as they could have been, apparently. For the next ones. If I can get this in the shot without disrupting anything. Oh god. Yeah. Ta-da! These are, it's a headset, but it's headphones by, V10. And I think on this little sound card dealio here, you have the inline control thing here. And I think this says, that just says the serial number, so I don't know if a 19A14 is the model number, or that's just, this particular unit, but it's, I got this on Amazon pretty early on here when I first started getting some extra stuff, upgrading my setup. So these are my first pair of headphones that were like iPod headphones that are going to be better. I think they still have a tough cake on them because they've been sitting in a place where I'm not using them for a while too, so apologies for how they might look. Now these are definitely still kind of on the cheap side. They were probably $30, $35, $40 somewhere in there. Without the discount, I think. Or maybe that was with. Nice padding. The padding on these ear cups, they're pretty deep ear cups. And so my ears are small enough to fit in there. And these actually have a decent amount of, clamping force on them. So having the extra padding is good for that. Okay, cool. And they're, yeah, they don't pinch my ears obviously they're kind of plasticky and cheap and not the best thing out there, but how do they sound? Also, I don't like that this thing just bends around. You can't, like, get it out of your peripheral vision when you're using it. It's nice to be able to adjust it to whatever, space you want it to be here, but when it's trying to get it out of your face, you kind of can't. But the sound. The sound is... It's not bad. It's passable sound. It's not like it's better than your average budget headphones, but it's not anything to write home about. They're still just headphones after all, so while it's nice to have, something beyond built-in speakers and packed-in headphones or earbuds or whatever, it's still it's no replacement for, like, properly decent headphones, so keep that in mind. Oh, I ran out of space on this other side. I didn't plan this well, did I? Let's check over here. I think these kind of work as the next one. This probably is, I think it's fair. Well, these are the earpods that came with my iPhone 8, actually, and I had them kicking around. As you can see, they connect via Lightning. They've got this lovely, lovely example of why I don't really like having wired earbuds like this, because they just kind of get a little tangled in things, and I spend more time trying to get these untangled than anything else. There's an inline control plus the microphone right in there, and the thing is, these sound really good, like they do. They're very light, they're small, they fit well, they feel good in the ears, and they sound, they don't have a whole lot of bass to them, but they sound very crisp and clear, and I guess it makes sense also because they're wired, but that's the problem with them, is that they get tangled up, they feel like they're gonna fall out. I have a cord going to my pocket if I'm using it on my phone, and I can only use it really with my iPhone, and that's it. So that's why I put these down this far, is that while these are a nice backup to use on my iPhone, or if I really wanted to record something on my phone and don't want to use the built-in mic for whatever reason, these would be a great option. But sadly, what are these specs on my bed I'm finding? Are these falling off of these headphones? Are these falling apart in my hand? But or is that from one of the other ones? But yeah, these are just, I don't know, they're very good for what they're meant for. They're like $20, so they're incredibly, cheap and good quality for the price if you have an iPhone. But basically, that's the only thing these are going to be good for. You can get ones with different ends, like USB-C, and ones with a standard headphone jack, and those probably will work on other things, and those are probably a better deal. The specific model is becoming pretty obsolete and useless, so once I get a new phone, these are basically going to be garbage. Next, look how much space you save by crunching into a ball. These. Oh, sorry, that's really loud. Are the Let's Calm H10s, and the H10 headset, and I think these are the ones that say you see Let's Calm. I looked at it, and I didn't look at it in the viewfinder. I'm terrible. I think these are the ones where you can see the left and right on the inside of the things here. No. Yes. It's engraved in there. Can you see? There's the L. And the R. Is it in there? There. It's time to kind of feel for these as well. Okay, so these are Bluetooth. Credit where credit is due. They do feel pretty good. And they also weren't, I don't remember the price, but I remember them not being that expensive. I don't even know if they were like $50. And here's the thing about them though. There's not a lot to really talk about here with and cheaper. So, oh yeah, I was gonna show you the stuff on the side. I'll show this quick. So you have like places you can plug in to charge, and I think that dot there is the microphone. It's got buttons to do things like power and volume and bass and stuff. And you can use a wired connection with the all the batteries dead or something. You can plug this in and have a wired connection and keep going. Which honestly, it probably will sound better if you do that, but I haven't tested that because I didn't care enough. Because the point of having Bluetooth ones is that they're wireless. That's why I got these. I have really good sounding wired ones already now, so what's the point? I got these to listen to stuff on my phone and to maybe be able to walk around with my computer playing audio. And unfortunately, these just don't sound very good. They really don't. They just sound, they're bassy, but the bass, is kind of like adds a layer over everything. Like it feels like there's kind of like a filter, like a fog over everything, a bassy kind of fog, and everything is just very, dampened and dulled by the bass. So stuff doesn't sound very crisp or clear, and it's a shame. I listened to an entire Iron Maiden album on this, and that was probably a mistake because I bet it sounds way better on other headphones, which I didn't know until I listened to these back to back with all the different stuff that could connect to my phone, and realized, wow, these actually sound really terrible. So at this point, now that I know that for sure, I'm probably just not going to use these. I'm likely going to get rid of these headphones because also the microphone is absolute garbage. Again, Bluetooth audio is not great. This is probably older Bluetooth, and it's a cheaper headset, so makes sense. But this definitely fell way off on my list. So even though it is very comfortable, I do like the feel. They just they aren't real portable because they're still kind of big. They're no more portable than other like wired headphones like this, and they're also the sound isn't there, so it's not really worth the hassle. Last but also least, I mentioned how I hate how these things tangle up. These are just some really crappy headphones or earbuds that came with I believe these came with my Walkman. Not my Walkman, the actual Walkman brand one, but the CD100, a portable CD player that's kind of like that. And these came with it, and they also came with an additional inline control thing I don't have here, but standard headphone jack, and very lovely headphones that they do not label as left or right on them anywhere, so you have to basically just put them in and figure it out. They suck. They don't feel good to put in your ears. This is almost like a papery kind of rubber that this feels like, and they tangle up in your pocket, and they don't sound very good. Audio-wise, they're just really thin and lagging, and these are what you use to, I kind of cut them around to listen to videos at work. For work things, I don't want other people to hear that I'm listening to it, but yeah, they're not good, and they are bad. And here's a little bonus. Well, that's not headphones. You're right. Here we have a lightning end, and here we have a headphone jack. So, yeah, you just plug it in to your phone, and then, ta-da, you can plug in. Whatever headphones you want. And as is my want, let's just unscrew this bad boy. I want to plug in the Sony MDR 7506. There you go. Boom. And now you're able to listen to your regular headphones of choice, just like that. It's awesome. I really like it. And it's obviously if I'm at home, I probably have better choices for headphones, but if I want to go the extra mile, because the AirPods still sound pretty good, this will go the extra mile to use these. Is it overkill? Yes. It's not something you really need, but I do like it a lot, and I think this thing was pretty cheap, so looks really silly, but there we go. That's our thumbnail that we got. You got to be here for the making of this amazing thumbnail. How do you feel? Oh, skips down a little bit, actually. That was not sticking out of the thing. There we go. Now everything's all in the shot, and it's all, well, it's not the prettiest looking thing, but hopefully it conveys the point. And I think that'll do it. So, hope it was interesting. Let me know your preferred headphones in the comments.